Okay, I'm moving into my recap of today. My first fish I caught was on the live target yearling jerkbait, which is the first fish I've ever caught on a jerkbait when like seriously jerkbait fishing, because I used to think jerkbaits were crankbaits when I was younger, and I'd just buy them. I was like, ooh, this looks cool, and I just reel it through the water like a crankbait. So other than that, and then also the fish I caught on it was like an inch and a half longer than the bait itself. But nice bait, good action, and I'm glad I didn't have to pay 16 bucks for it. Mystery Tackle Box, thank you. The next fish was on the XB1 square bill from Excite, which it had good action, and I don't know, the word I can only think of is shimmy. So I was doing it like a 3-count reel and then like a 2-second pause, and in the pause I was twitching it, and it like twitched really well and had a nice erratic action. And actually I caught my one fish on the twitching of it. But overall, that bait, I liked it. And then the third fish, which was the biggest of the day, came on the Thunderhawk Hybrid Diver swim bait, which it's a good little swim bait. If I do it over again, I'd put like a little spinner on it and then just use that for more vibration. But I was fishing over the tops of grass or weed beds, and then I was getting attacked by bluegills, so I cast over this like pipe that runs up and out of the water, and then that's where I caught the fish. And I caught it on the fall. Actually, I wasn't even reeling in, I caught it on the fall. But that was the biggest fish, which was like 17-18 inches. Then the fourth and fifth fish both came on a shaky head. The first one, which is the Charlie's Lil Bow, I don't have with me. I'm lazy, I don't want to get it out, I already put it away, but it was on the Charlie's Worms Lil Bow. It'd be a nice drop shot, but I really don't drop shot. But it's also a nice shaky head worm because it's straight and doesn't have a lot go, and it's like small, so I fished it in like sunken tires, so it worked really good for that. And that's what I caught my fourth fish on. And then the fifth fish, actually I did a lot with the Bass Munitions trip worm. I started off Texas rigging it with the Daiichi offset worm hook, but that hook I hooked into 2 fish and both of them shook it, which normally I never lose a fish due to shaking a Texas rig worm. But the hook itself wasn't deep enough and didn't allow for a proper hook set for the worm to get out of the way. Maybe if I was using a smaller worm like a plasma tail or even like the Charlie's worm, it might have worked, but with this trick worm there was just too much worm and not enough hook, and I couldn't get a solid hook set. So then I changed it to a wacky rig, and it has a really nice slow fall with a little bit of wiggle, but the fall is almost too slow for me. So I decided to put it on the shaky head and realized it is a great shaky head worm. It's nice and long, which works better when like bass, I don't know. For me, there's times where like a smaller shaky head worm works better than a bigger, and bigger works better than a smaller. Today I feel like they both worked, but the smaller was better because I had more follows on the Charlie's worm, or maybe it was just the color, I don't know. Not a fish expert, just a poor YouTube kid. But the tail floats nicely, so it stands straight up, and you shake it and it shakes, and you hop it and it doesn't fall over. It's a pretty good shaky head worm. So that's what I caught my fourth fish on. And then my fifth fish on. Fourth and fifth were on a shaky head. Now my sixth and final fish came on the Snooze Alarm buzzbait from Buddha Baits. And honestly, it's a pretty nice buzzbait. What I like about it is you can reel it really slow, and because it's such a big blade, it's still turning up water and you can reel it slow, which is what you want with a buzzbait. You don't want to be burning it as fast as you can, because then the fish isn't really going to strike it. But I did not have a lot of hope for this bait. I arrived at the lake about an hour late. I was sweating after getting everything ready, basically, and then I threw it a little, and then I was like, nah, I gotta move something, and that's when I did the jerkbait. But throughout the day, I fished around some like weed piles, and then we were thinking about leaving, and then the clouds had come over, and I'm by weed piles, and I'm just like, okay, last cast, and I cast it, and it actually was about 5 feet shorter than I wanted, but about 10 turns of the handle into the cast, I got a bite, and then I set the hook, and I actually caught the fish on it. But sadly, I went to go turn on the camera after reeling it out of some weeds after hooking it, and right as I went to go turn around, I heard like the GoPro beep 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 die, so my camera died. So that fish is not on camera, but it's the average size fish of the day, I'd say, which is like 8 inches. The biggest was like 18. Yeah. So most of my fish today were like 8 inches, but hey, you don't need a size limit to complete the slam. So yeah, the bait, actually 2 baits, but I've made it in one. You have the 6th Sense Divine Swim Jig, and I used the Punch Craws from Z-Man. I figured I could catch a fish on this bait, but it's going to be hard because the lake that I was fishing at, it's normally a darker color lake for jigs and soft plastics, and this is a white shad pattern jig. Maybe if I just threw the craw alone, I could have caught a fish, but I didn't think about that until like now. But otherwise, either way, it's a good jig. It went through like brush and like trees very well, didn't get snagged, and then the claws on this, because it's Z-Man, float up. I like that. But the only thing I say is this has a screw lock plastics keeper. Z-Man products do not go very well for that. I was just being stubborn in getting it to work because I wanted to get one fish with 2 baits. But indeed, it's the one that cost me, but my slam. But overall, both good baits, and I needed a different color for that lake. But overall, this is the first slam I've ever tried to complete, and I think it's a success. I tried to do my June box and July box in 1 month, and it's now August 7th is when I've done this. And I was 1 fish away and 2 baits away from completing the slam. So other than that, I feel like that was pretty successful. But if you like this video, hit the like button, and if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. I try to do a video every other day, or just as often as I can if I can't make that schedule. But other than that, I hope you guys have enjoyed your mystery tackle boxes. This is the most I've ever enjoyed mine, because I normally use like 1, maybe 2 of the baits per month that come in it. But this is the first one where I've like used every one and like kind of personally reviewed them. But other than that, happy fishing and have a great day.